Why not try something smart to chew on? The Lunchroom on RCI, Monday to Friday, 12:45 to 2 p.m. The Lunchroom. Informative, enlightening, provocative, engaging. The Lunchroom on RCI. Food for thought. The station that gives you, more lunch.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. It is Tuesday, January the 23rd, 2024, and this is program number 1126 of the Lunchroom. I'm your host, Calix George Jr., and in addition to 101.1 FM radio, you can also get us at our website. It is rcistlucia.com. We're also streaming live on Facebook. You can just search for the official page of Radio Caribbean International there, and be sure to like and share that please with your friends and family. If you want to call and tell us what's on your plate today, the number to do so, it is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. As well as our WhatsApp number, you can message in to 724-0008. Or if you want to call into that WhatsApp number, you can do that as well. Again, it is 724-0008. Now, some birthday greetings for today, going out to Miss Ramona Henry Wynn. This is Ramona Henry Wynn, sorry. Of course, she's the director of the Cultural Development Foundation. Happy birthday to you, and wishing you an absolutely fantastic birthday celebration. Also celebrating his birthday today is Mr. Johan Blanchard. Happy birthday to you, sir, and wishing you an absolutely fantastic birthday. Also to Mr. Dawson Ragunanan, happy birthday to you as well, and we do hope that you're having a splendid birthday celebration. And also sending birthday greetings out to Miss Jonelle Isaac. Happy birthday to you, Jonelle. And we do hope that it is going great. You're having a wonderful birthday indeed. Now, of course, it's also would have been the birthdays of our two Nobel Prize winners, William Arthur Lewis, as well as Derek Alton Walker today. And of course, we remembered them yesterday. As we noted, Nobel Laureate Week. In fact, we're hoping to touch base with a representative of the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College sometime during the program as well, to get a sense as to what's going on up there on the Mon with respect to the celebrations this coming week. Now, a bit of history. In the year 1368, in a coronation ceremony, Su Yangshang, age 40, ascended to the throne of China as the Hongwu Emperor, initiating the Ming Dynasty rule over China, and that would last for 3 centuries, over 300 years, and that was on this day in 1368. Also in China in 1556, the Shanxi earthquake, the deadliest ever recorded, killed approximately 830,000 people in Shanxi province in China. 1950 on this day saw the Israeli Knesset resolving that Jerusalem should be the capital of Israel. 1973 on this day, United States President Richard Nixon announced an accord that had been reached to end the Vietnam War. And in 1978 on this day, Sweden became the first nation in the world to ban aerosol sprays due to their harmful effects on the Earth's ozone layer. We now move on to our dish of the day. The daily dish is brought with the kind compliments of our good friends at Tiles Plus.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+. Did all kind of tiles. Come down to Tiles Plus. We also got gasway and vanity. Books, doors, you'll see. Come down to mind nobody. We got the best tiles on island. Trust me. We are located Land Street in Castries, Bosses Grozile, and Flag Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939. Tiles Plus.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
And welcome back to the lunchroom at Radio Caribbean International. Now, of course, there's lots to take in, and we are trying to balance between a very hectic and turbulent period around the world, as well as what is in fact happening right here in the Caribbean. Now, yesterday, one of our regular callers, of course, raised the matter of the ongoing issue over at the Caribbean Development Bank, and that has raised quite a lot of commentary and interest, of course. Here in St. Lucia, it involves a St. Lucian-born head of the bank, Dr. Jean Leo. There's an opinion piece which has been written on what is to try to characterize, I suppose, the nature of the governance at the Caribbean Development Bank. Now, in many instances, we are accustomed to almost a single tier governance structure around the world. In many corporate settings, that's what you tend to have. Yes, you have management, but in terms of the governance level, you tend to just have a board of directors, or maybe a management council, or some sort of body that plays the role of the decision making within the entity, the company, the association, or whatever the case may be. However, in some entities, especially perhaps multilateral entities, especially or multinational entities that make up or set up by multiple countries, you sometimes have a number of tiers of within the governance structure. And sometimes it could be for checks and balances. Sometimes it's because the individuals who are the owners sometimes are really high level, and they don't really ever get too much into the actual day-to-day management of that entity. And you see it sometimes in other institutions, like, for instance, in universities, for instance, you may have a university senate, and that senate does not really get into the actual management and operations of the university. That might more likely be done at the academic board level. And then in the case of universities, they also have even faculty boards and numbers of other institutions. So there's a very much multi-tiered system of governance in those types of settings, and each has their own powers and decision-making that can be done. And so you get that sometimes. For instance, that's why you don't really, in very many universities, you don't really ever hear about the chancellor so much. The chancellor tends to be a person who's somewhat removed, and even from the day-to-day runnings, it's really the vice chancellor who actually gets into the management of the day-to-day stuff, or the visioning stuff even. So it's a similar sort of situation with respect to the Caribbean Development Bank, and it has certainly led to some confusion, especially given what is transpiring right now. And so I just wanted to share an opinion piece which has been penned by Professor Thomas Cauldron. And Professor Cauldron is a St. Lucian. He's a retired university professor and academic journal editor. He has lectured on corporate governance for about 3 decades and has delivered various corporate governance lectures in the region. Dr. Cauldron was a 1981 participant in the CDB's Project Administration Training Unit's Extensive Project Management course. And that's just to give you a sense of Dr. Cauldron, of course. As I mentioned, he is a St. Lucian, and writing on this matter entitled CDB's Two-Tiered Corporate Governance Structure and the Case of Dr. Jean Leo. It reads as follows. It's about 3 pages long, so I'll try to read as briskly as possible to keep it short. This weekend, we all read an alarming article about the president and chairman of the board of directors of the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, Dr. Jean Leo. The article states that Dr. Leo's tablet and computer were seized and he was placed on administrative leave until April. The statement emphasizes the potential vulnerabilities within the CDB's corporate governance structure and proposes concrete solutions to address them. It highlights the importance of transparency, accountability, and a well-defined conflict resolution process for the bank's long-term stability and integrity. A two-tier governance structure. The Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, has a two-tier corporate governance structure, a board of governors and a board of directors. The board of governors is responsible for high-level policy and elects the president, who also serves as chairman of the bank's board of directors. The board of governors meets once a year and when requested by a majority of the bank's members. And all powers of the CDB are in the board of governors' hands. With some specific exceptions, example, new CDB membership, election of the board of directors members, and the president, etc., the board of governors may delegate its powers to the board of directors. According to the published governance structure, the CDB's board of directors has responsibility for the general policy and direction of the operations of the Caribbean Development Bank. The board of directors is an operational entity with responsibility for some policy matters related to operations as delegated by the board of governors. It makes decisions about borrowings, loans and investments, and matters related to day-to-day operations. The published organizational structure contains no information about the resolution of vital matters that involve the chairman and president of the bank, a board of governors appointee. The agreement establishing the Caribbean Development Bank, amended in 2007, similarly fails to address this matter. With the benefit of hindsight, this omission is interesting as it implies that there may be no structure in place when a significant operational matter involves the president and chairman of the board of directors. Nonetheless, high-level policy matters are not automatically delegated to the board of directors, and one must presume that vital operational matters related to the president and chairman of the board ought to be specifically approved by the board of governors. The power to hire, remove, or perhaps discipline the board of directors chair and president is unambiguously the purview of the board of governors, and there is no published indication that such power is delegated to the board of directors. The news about Dr. Leo's suspension throws the CDB's two-tier governance structure into sharp focus, particularly the potential for conflicts involving the president and chairman of the board of directors. While the published structure clarifies that the board of governors' ultimate authority and the board of directors' operational responsibilities, it remains silent on addressing critical matters involving the president, a key appointee of the board of governors. This omission is glaring in light of Dr. Leo's situation, implying a potential blind spot in the bank's ability to handle such scenarios decisively and transparently. This lack of clarity creates fertile ground for conflicts of interest and power struggles, especially if operational matters impact the president or chairman's personal interests or actions. Without a defined resolution process, decision-making could stall, accountability could blur, and public trust could erode. Moreover, the vital policy matters reserved for the Board of Governors' annual meeting addressing urgent operational issues involving the president could be delayed or circumvented entirely. To mitigate these risks, the bank must urgently re-evaluate its governance structure to explicitly address conflict resolution involving the president and chairman of the board of directors. This could involve establishing a special committee within the board of governors empowered to investigate and make recommendations in such cases. Additionally, the bank should consider delegating high-level policy matters related to the president's conduct or potential conflicts to a smaller, more agile committee of the Board of Governors that can meet more frequently than the full Board of Governors. The Office of Integrity, Compliance and Accountability, an existing independent entity within the bank's corporate governance structure, is not an effective substitute for such a special committee of the Board of Governors, as this structure could accentuate potential power struggles when the president and chairman of the Board of Directors is the subject of an investigation. Dr. Leo's case cracks open the CDB's two-tier governance structure, revealing fissures ripe for power struggles. Key questions hang in the air. Is his administrative leave paid? By whom was it authorized? Are such matters the purview of the Board of Directors or the Board of Governors? This ambiguity, born from a structure meant for stability, now births chaos. The board's decision, independent of pay, ignites a tinderbox of potential conflicts. A critical question, for example, arises if Dr. Leo remains on paid leave. How can the Board of Directors unilaterally override the Board of Governors' authority in such a weighty matter? Should a governor appointed president or on involuntary leave still draw a full salary without fulfilling core duties? This opaqueness erodes trust and suggests that the Board of Directors may be exceeding its delegated powers. To continue this illustration, let's assume that Dr. Leo's leave is unpaid. This paints a different picture. Did the Board of Directors, chaired by Dr. Leo himself, negligently disregard a contractual obligation initiated by the governors? Such an action smacks of a calculated power play, bypassing due process and potentially violating Dr. Leo's employment rights. The public disclosure of Dr. Leo's situation further amplifies the conflict. A mere press release on an operational matter involving the president seems far too light-handed for such a sensitive issue. Shouldn't such a major policy decision with the potential to damage both Dr. Leo and the bank's reputation require prior clearance from the Board of Governors? The detail about Dr. Leo's seized devices adds another layer of intrigue. Disclosing this information, particularly through the Board of Directors, chaired by Dr. Leo himself, feels calculated to maximize public embarrassment and fuel speculation. Such premature disclosure of selective information during what is ordinarily a private and confidential investigation reeks of a personal vendetta against the bank's top official, rather than a transparent pursuit of truth and accountability. With conflicting narratives, unanswered questions, and a critical lack of transparency, the Caribbean Development Bank stands at a crossroads. The two-tier governance structure, designed for stability and oversight, has instead morphed into a breeding ground for potential abuse and power struggles. To restore public trust and navigate this crisis effectively, the bank must immediately commit to a thorough independent investigation and a clear, transparent communication strategy. Only then can they hope to quell the growing suspicion and rebuild trust in this vital regional institution. By acknowledging and proactively addressing its potential corporate governance loophole, the Caribbean Development Bank can strengthen its governance framework, build public confidence, and ensure that even the highest ranking officials are held accountable for their actions. Dr. Leo's saga exposes a simmering power struggle fueled by the CDB's opaque governance structure. Conflicting narratives, unanswered questions, and a shroud of secrecy sows seeds of doubt and erodes trust. This starkly reminds us that building trust takes years, but shattering it takes a moment. This moment demands a swift, independent, and confidential investigation. This investigation must address the underlying facts that triggered the Board of Directors' unprecedented action, challenges in the bank's two-tier governance structure that could constrain swift conflict resolution involving high-level personnel, as well as the underpinning motivations for publicizing a seemingly incomplete investigation of a potentially critical matter. Transparency and clarity are paramount to restoring public confidence and navigate this critical juncture for both the CDB and Dr. Leo. Only then can the truth emerge, reputations be salvaged, and this vital regional institution can regain its footing. And as I indicated, this is a piece, an opinion piece written by Professor Thomas Cauldron, PhD. And as I mentioned, Dr. Cauldron is a St. Lucian, a retired university professor and academic journal editor. And he's lectured on corporate governance for about 3 decades and has delivered various corporate governance lectures in the region. Dr. Cauldron was a 1981 participant of the CDB's Project Administration Training Unit's extensive project management course, providing some opinion on his views regarding this current situation at the Caribbean Development Bank. So that's our dish of the day. When we come back, we'll be taking in your calls as well, hoping to try to touch base with, as I mentioned, the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College as well, if we have some time to do that.
This has been The Daily Dish.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A plus. Need all kind of tiles. Come down to Tiles Plus. We also got gasway and vanity. Box, doors, you'll see. Come down, don't mind nobody. We got the best tiles on island. Trust me. We are located Lance Road in Castries, Bosses Grosile, and Slack Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939. Tiles Plus.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. And of course, the number to call in, it is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. As well as our WhatsApp number, it is 724-0008. Let's go to the phone lines at this time. Good afternoon and welcome to the lunchroom.
Good afternoon, Mr. George.
And how are you doing, sir? And what is on your plate today?
How are you?
Very good, thank you.
You know, I'm sorry about that, but I just happened to tune in, to your show.
Ah.
And to get the tail end of what you were saying. And I'm sorry about that. I don't know if you could
Okay, well, I will. What I can do is that I'll try to.
Enough to just give me some synopsis or whatever, or just read, parts as you go along.
Okay, well, essentially, it's an opinion piece, as I mentioned, by.
I'm not on listening. Yeah?
Okay, sure, no problem. Thanks very much for that, caller. And again, just to point out, we were just sharing with listeners a piece that was written by a St. Lucian academic, retired professor, Professor Cauldron, Thomas Cauldron, and he was sharing some insight into an analysis of his views regarding the current situation at the Caribbean Development Bank, which has come to light through the media, through some recent articles, many of them written, I think, by Mr. Peter Richards, and it certainly has caused quite a few shockwaves in the Caribbean. We've heard some of the responses or suggestions coming out of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. And of course, you recall, although the bank represents not just the OECS, it's a CARICOM-wide, so to speak, entity. It certainly is, the sub-region is a really important block within that, and they've expressed great shock and disappointment at this current turn of events. So we're going to share that in a little bit, but let's just try to take in a call, because I do believe we're trying to get a call in from Southwest Community College. Good afternoon and welcome to the lunchroom. What's on your plate today?
Yes, hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. Is this Tracy Pilgrim George?
It is Tracy Pilgrim George from the Sir
Wonderful.
Arthur Lewis Community College.
Wonderful, wonderful, Tracy. Thanks for joining us, and hope you're having a good day. I know it's a very busy time for the college as you are putting on one of the highlights of the college's calendar, one can say, the Nobel Laureate Festival.
That's correct. And let me first wish you and your listeners a happy Nobel Laureate Day. Today is the 23rd, the momentous day where both our Nobel laureates were born.
Yes, indeed. And indeed, I think tonight the lecture is going to be put on in honor of Sir Derek Walcott. That's Sir Derek Walcott Memorial Lecture happening at, I think, 7 o'clock or 7:30 or whatever.
7:30, yes, at the Administrative
at the
Finance Center.
Administrative Center, Point Seraphim. And
That's
that
correct.
is going to be delivered by Dr. Travis Weeks.
Yes.
Currently based in Trinidad and Tobago at the Center for Creative Arts over there. But of course, he is going to be sharing some really interesting insights, no doubt, on how he sees certain references within Derek's work on the whole concept of the twilight. We're going into the twilight zone, one could say, this evening.
Yes, and that is being put on by the Cultural Development Foundation.
Yes.
But for us specifically here at the college, tomorrow begins all of our festivities with our student debate. And as you know, the motto for this year is celebrating excellence, inspiring our collective imagination, and fostering national pride. And so we have organized what we call our student debate, the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College's student debate. And we're super excited about that because this year the moat is St. Lucia's annual celebration of our two Nobel laureates. Is it more ceremonial than consequential? What do you think of that moat? So the students have been planning and preparing.
Right. And that's really important because it certainly is putting a certain level of review and self-reflection on the activity in and of itself.
Yes.
So certainly a very important topic and an opportunity to reflect on the past how many years, about certainly a number of 30 years since we've been putting this on.
Yes. So this is the 31st year.
31st year, and whether we need to change the approach, whether it needs to be even more impactful. Now, I note, however, that there are some attempts at enriching the opportunity. It's not just about celebration. It was Kendall Hippolyte is going to be part of a production through the UE Global Campus. They're putting on something to assist in terms of training of production in respect to plays, I believe it is. So
yes.
It seems as if there's an attempt and a push towards that, but still, no doubt, quite a lot of celebration.
It is, and what's important and why the student debate is of significance is because it really engages the young people where they have to think about their role and the significance of these Nobel laureates. I mean, we boast all of the time of per capita we've got the most in the world, but what does that really mean, and how is that significant in the life of young people? And so having the student debate is of real importance to us here on campus. We've made it our duty to invite neighboring schools. We're going to have NTN is going to record it so we can have a rebroadcast. It's not going to be live stream because NTN is very busy during this time, as you can well imagine. Mm-hmm. But we hope to have a full house with our student debaters because we have a student debate society on campus.
Wonderful.
We've engaged Dr. Adrian O'Shea, who's been working with them in terms of understanding the moat and taking it apart. They've had, I think today, their lead teacher is Lorima Jacob, and
right.
She has been working with them. So it's going to be two groups of three speakers. Obviously, there's going to be prizes that the students are going to win for best speaker, as well as the team that comes out triumphant will win trophies and other little trinkets. So we're very excited. It takes place tomorrow at 12 o'clock. And we hope it's going to be about a 2.5 hour event. And even if we're having it indoors and the space is limited, we do hope that viewers can tune in online when there is the rebroadcast.
Okay, wonderful. And of course, I know the college has had a long-standing tradition of having communication studies, but you now offer law now, I think, at the Cape level.
That's correct.
So
we do offer law, and there are quite a few students who have decided that, that is, even if they don't want to become lawyers per se, but to be able to have a better understanding of law generally.
Right.
So it is a popular subject. And then tomorrow evening on Thursday, we then move back to the Finance Center with the Arthur Lewis Memorial Lecture, and that is with our keynote speaker is Dr. Fletcher. And it takes place same 7:30 Thursday evening, and as I just indicated, at the Finance Administrative Center in Point Seraphin. And Dr. Fletcher will be discussing navigating the future, applying the teachings of Sir Arthur Lewis to St. Lucia's 21st century development challenges. And Dr. Fletcher, this is going to be very engaging. PowerPoint presentation, ensuring that the audience is engaged, and sharing a wealth of knowledge that he has, as you know that he has. So that happens on Thursday.
And that should be very interesting, of course, because we know Sir Arthur and a lot of his models, of course, predate so much that has come forward in the world right now, and some of the challenges that we're dealing with the energy crisis and climate change and all of that. So it'll be very interesting to see how Dr. Fletcher navigates these ideas of Sir Arthur and his writings and bringing them into this current era of serious challenges that the world is facing.
Yes, and I think I'm sure your listeners would like to know if there is a charge, and it's free to the public.
Oh, wonderful!
Once again, the space is limited, but we're hoping to have about maybe 150 persons in attendance. And we have Dr. Mary-Louise Felix, who is going to act as our moderator on Thursday evening. And I don't know if the last time you came on campus, but we have a mesh of a whale. And
yes,
inside of that whale, you've seen it, and you know what it's for, yes?
Yes, it's to raise awareness on the matter of plastics in the ocean and
that's correct.
Microplastics and the waste that we're dealing with. Yes, indeed, very.
So
very
lots
poignant.
to discuss. Yes, in terms of development and our way forward and sustainable development specifically, disposal of garbage, etc., etc. There's a new trending video going around. Not sure if you've seen it.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Very excellent stuff. Excellent stuff from Fiona, and really raising, and her friend, of course, her colleague, raising the awareness of what is certainly a long-standing issue. And it's interesting because just to allow me to just go on another side, but sometimes these types of interventions are even more impactful, but putting up all the signs. And I mean, not to say that we don't need the signage and we don't need the PSAs, the traditional PSAs, but sometimes some people need to hear it in a very raw way. And
agreed. And I just hope, and I cannot wait for me to see somebody throw garbage outside and for me to use that term. And I don't know if your viewers will
yes.
Your viewers will forgive me for saying it, but I will definitely call them a malpoppy when I see them throwing garbage outside. Because you cannot tell me, St. Lucia we love, and we're littering the place, all of the time like that. So yes. Some of us would criticize the manner in which the video was done, but I think that it really, in terms of the demographic and the persons that she's speaking to, I think it hits the nail smack on the head.
Well, thankfully, the grounds of the South Lewis Community College seem generally to be in a fairly immaculate condition, but I do know that there are challenges. It's an open campus, and you have people coming in and out, and it's hard to control that. So
it is hard, but generally the students take care of the campus because we have bins in strategic areas to ensure that they dispose of their garbage adequately.
Indeed.
So the following day, which is on the Friday, this is when we have our annual wreath laying ceremony, and that usually starts about 10 o'clock. So that particular event is for specially invited guests, where we've invited family and friends of the two Nobel laureates to come and lay wreaths. Monsignor Patrick Anthony will be our guest speaker. And of course, we'll be talking just a very short section, highlighting and remembering Sir Leighton F. Thomas as well, the first principal of the college. And so it's a short event, but it's very, very, very ceremonial and very important. And so just today I was having a discussion with somebody that said, should we get rid of this? Every year we do the same thing. I said, yes, we have Remembrance Day every year.
Yes,
we must remember. We must have these solemn moments. It's not all everything is about a celebration in a grand way, but to commemorate And so I think
I think you have a little bit of everything in this festival. And I think it's certainly very well put together. I mean, no doubt, I'm sure you have lots of other ideas to add on to other things you'd like to see done in the future. But I think it definitely should not be about taking out, but augmenting, expanding the offering to reach even more individuals out there. So
Agreed. And our last event is what we've dubbed a Day of Excellence. So in the afternoon from about 12 p.m. to 4 o'clock, our students are going to put on a wonderful display in various ways. So for example, our CAPA students, that's our creative arts and performing arts students, are going to be putting on a small player production. In addition to that, we've had a call for talent. So our student musicians, our student dancers, our singers will all be on display. We've already put up the stage, and the students are very excited because they're going to be using it for rehearsal from tomorrow. We're also going to have on display our entrepreneurs, and our culinary arts students are going to be doing a demonstration on how to make bouillon and how to make akra.
Okay.
We
Wonderful.
want to also highlight some of our alum in the various who have excelled in various fields. So, for example, Barry George is going to be honored on Friday for his ability to be able to become an entrepreneur through dance and to earn a living through his amazing dance studio.
Wonderful.
We're also going to be highlighting Arthur Ale in terms of music.
Right.
We were going to put a mural on campus. This is my favorite part. So we've contracted Saki, and he is going to be engaging our students in designing a mural. For the first time, we're going to have, I think we have a small mural.
Yeah, I think there is a mural that was
higher up
on the OTW, the Old Technical Building. So you're doing another one. Now, where is that going to be?
That is going to be on the IET building facing the administrative block. And so the idea is, once again, to have something that the students can, something visual, to engage our visual arts students, and also that they can see this thing every single day to remind them of the significance of our Nobel laureates and the fact that they're in an institution in this beautiful Morn campus.
Wonderful.
And so that's going to take place as well. So it's going to be a fusion of art and dance and music and food and entrepreneurship. And so we're very, very, very excited about that event.
And I can tell you it's a really great thing in terms of legacy. I mean, I can just imagine if you're doing one of these every year or, every other year, you're going to have such a beautiful campus at the end of it all, really. So wonderful that you guys are taking this on.
So I must, before you let me go, I must say that so we're doing a lot with very limited resources. We have sponsors such as Lucelec and Flo that have come on board. We really want to take the opportunity to thank Dame Paulette Louisi and the other members of the team, Madame Lacroix-Benet, Delia Dolo. There are a lot of people behind the scenes that have been working really hard to ensure that all of the activities come to fruition. However, the college is still in need of, support from the government, in corporate sponsors, because a lot of our buildings are in disrepair, and we would really, really, really use that kind of serious financial injection.
And that's where the real legacy is coming in, right?
That's correct. I mean, we're still looking for a proper library. You're going to hear this refrain over and over again, because every time the librarian comes on, she talks about that.
Yes.
And we need that, because this is a tertiary institution.
Just last night saw a photo of the late Sir Leighton Thomas and his wife, Lady Marjorie Thomas, and Hunter J. Francois.
Correct.
Lovely photo, I think, at the National Cultural Center. And they're three great, wonderful individuals who made a wonderful contribution to St. Lucia. And that matter of the library, yes, I know is a sore point.
And also, too, you have to understand that the college has really produced some amazing St. Lucians who are making a contribution not only here locally, but regionally and internationally. So we have some issues, but those issues are not irreparable. And so with financial injection and the support from corporate St. Lucia and the government, this can really be a place of excellence.
Wonderful, wonderful. Tracy Pilgrim George, thank you so very much for sharing with us all
My
that is
pleasure, and I
happening
hope I
up on
see
the
you. You're going
board.
to come? Which event you coming to?
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to. I said yesterday, in fact, when I was discussing that, you should try to come to at least one. So I know tonight I'll be at the lecture, and Thursday night at the Sir William Arthur Lewis lecture. I'm not too sure about the activities during the day, but I'll see what I can actually attend as well.
Wonderful. I remember teasing you one time and saying to you that I see you at almost every event, but now as a married gentleman and a daddy-to-be, that might not be possible.
Well, I'll try my very best. I'll still try my very best.
I thought I'd tease you a little bit. Anyway, thank you so much for your time. It's always wonderful chatting with you.
Indeed. And have a great one. Have a good one.
You too. All the best to you and your listeners.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Now, of course, we're due for our weather report, so we're going to head across to take that in. When we come back, we'll try to share again some excerpts out of that Thomas Cauldron piece, and then hopefully we can open the line for some calls.
Island style, yeah. We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, yeah. We'll have to make the right choice. Island style, whoa. We got the time that will make you happy. Island style, oh yeah. We make your dream come alive in island style.
We have tiles and thin sets, pieces and ground. Everything you need to sort the house out. For the best price and the latest style. Take a little drive down to Island Style Car.
We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, quality, price, service, choice. It's all an Island Style.
Visit us at our showrooms in Belarus, Rodney Bay, on the John Compton Highway, Cass Street, and behind Ruby's Gas Station on the Library Viewfort Highway. So call us on 450-452 or 453-TILE. Island Style Tile and Bath. When you think tile, think Island Style.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And National of Coastal 1.1 is now time for your weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Talamba. Forecast for St. Lucia Valley for the next 24 hours. Winds will be blowing from between the east, northeast, and east near 25 miles per hour or 41 kilometers per hour with occasional gust. The weather partly cloudy and windy, becoming cloudy at times with some light to moderate showers. And there is an advisory in here which reads small craft operators and sea beavers are advised to exercise caution due to brisk winds and locally rough seas. The forecast for the Lesser Antilles, partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy and windy with widely scattered showers. The weather summary, the Atlantic high pressure system will continue to generate moderate to brisk easterly winds across. And the weather summary, the Atlantic high pressure system will continue to generate moderate to brisk easterly winds and locally rough seas across the Lesser Antilles during the next few days. Shallow patches of low-level clouds drifting along the wind flow will cause some cloudy intervals with light to moderate showers over the region during the next 24 hours. And this was the weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Talamba.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
Island style, yeah. We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, yeah. We'll have to make the right choice. Island style, whoa. We got the time that will make you happy. Island style, oh yeah. We make your dream come alive in Island style.
We have tiles and thin sets, pieces and ground. Everything you need to sort the house out. For the best price and the latest style. Take a little drive down to Island Style Car.
We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, quality, price, service, choice. It's all an Island Style.
Visit us at our showrooms in Belarus, Rodney Bay, on the John Compton Highway, Cass Street, and behind Ruby's Gas Station on the Library Viewfort Highway. So call us on 450-452 or 453-TILE. Island Style Tile and Bath. When you think tile, think Island Style.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. We've got about 40 minutes to go before the hour of 2 o'clock. And just to share again a bit of that essay by Professor Thomas Cauldron, PhD. He writes as follows: the Caribbean Development Bank has a two-tier corporate governance structure, a board of governors and a board of directors. The board of governors is responsible for high-level policy and elects the president, who also serves as chairman of the bank's board of directors. The board of governors meets once a year, and when requested by a majority of the bank's members, and all powers of the CDB are in the board of governors' hands. With some specific exceptions, example, the new CDB membership, election of the board of directors members, and the president, etc., the board of governors may delegate its powers to the board of directors. According to the published governance structure, the CDB's board of directors has responsibility for, quote, the general policy and direction of the operations of the Caribbean Development Bank, end quote. The board of directors is an operational entity with responsibility for some policy matters related to operations as delegated by the board of governors. It makes decisions about borrowings, loans, and investments, and matters related to day-to-day operations. The published organizational structure contains no information about the resolution of vital matters that involve the chairman and president of the bank, a board of governors appointee. The agreement establishing the Caribbean Development Bank, as amended in 2007, similarly fails to address this matter. With the benefit of hindsight, this omission is interesting, as it implies that there may be no structure in place when a significant operational matter involves the president and chairman of the board of directors. Nonetheless, high-level policy matters are not automatically delegated to the board of directors, and one must presume that vital operational matters related to the president and chairman of the board ought to be specifically approved by the board of governors. The power to hire, remove, or perhaps discipline the board of directors chair and president is unambiguously the purview of the board of governors, and there is no published indication that such power is delegated to the board of directors. The news about Dr. Leo's suspension throws the CDB's two-tier governance structure into sharp focus, particularly the potential for conflicts involving the president and the chairman of the board of directors. While the published structure clarifies the board of governors' ultimate authority and the board of directors' operational responsibilities, it remains silent on addressing critical matters involving the president, a key appointee of the board of governors. This omission is glaring in light of Dr. Leo's situation, implying a potential blind spot in the bank's ability to handle such scenarios decisively and transparently. This lack of clarity creates the fertile ground for conflicts of interest and power struggles, especially if operational matters impact the president and other chairman's personal interests or actions. Without a defined resolution process, decision-making could stall, accountability could blur, and public trust could erode. Moreover, with vital policy matters reserved for the Board of Governors annual meeting, addressing urgent operational issues involving the president could be delayed or circumvented entirely. To mitigate these risks, the bank must urgently re-evaluate its governance structure to explicitly address conflict resolution involving the president and chairman of the board of directors. This could involve establishing a special committee within the board of governors, empowered to investigate and make recommendations in such cases. Additionally, the bank should consider delegated high-level policy matters related to the president's conduct or potential conflicts to a smaller, more agile committee of the board of governors that can meet more frequently than the full board of governors. The Office of Integrity, Compliance and Accountability, an existing independent entity within the bank's corporate governance structure, is not an effective substitute for such a special committee of the Board of Governors, as this structure could accentuate potential power struggles when the president and chairman of the Board of Directors is the subject of an investigation. Dr. Leo's case cracks open the CDB's two-tier governance structure, revealing fissures ripe for power struggles. Key questions hang in the air. Is his administrative leave paid? By whom was it authorized? Are such matters the purview of the Board of Directors or the Board of Governors? This ambiguity, born from a structure meant for stability, now births chaos. The board's decision, independent of pay, ignites a tinderbox of potential conflicts. A critical question, for example, arises if Dr. Leo remains on paid leave. How can the board of directors unilaterally override the board of governors' authority in such a weighty matter? Should a governor-appointed president on involuntary leave still draw a full salary without fulfilling core duties? This opaqueness erodes trust and suggests that the board of directors may be exceeding its delegated powers. To continue this illustration, let's assume that Dr. Leo's leave is unpaid. This paints a different picture. Did the board of directors, chaired by Dr. Leo himself, negligently disregard a contractual obligation initiated by the governors? Such an action smacks of a calculated power play, bypassing due process and potentially violating Dr. Leo's employment rights. The public disclosure of Dr. Leo's situation further amplifies the conflict. A mere press release on an quote-unquote operational matter involving the president seems far too light-handed for such a sensitive issue. Shouldn't such a major policy decision with the potential to damage both Dr. Leo and the bank's reputation require prior clearance from the board of governors? The detail about Dr. Leo's seized devices adds another layer of intrigue. Disclosing this information, particularly through the board of directors chaired by Dr. Leo himself, feels calculated to maximize public embarrassment and fuel speculation. Such premature disclosure of selective information during what is ordinarily a private and confidential investigation reeks of a personal vendetta against the bank's top official rather than a transparent pursuit of truth and accountability. With conflicting narratives, unanswered questions, and a critical lack of transparency, the Caribbean Development Bank stands at a crossroads. The two-tier governance structure designed for stability and oversight has instead morphed into a breeding ground for potential abuse and power struggles. To restore public trust and navigate this crisis effectively, the bank must immediately commit to a thorough, independent investigation and a clear, transparent communication strategy. Only then can they hope to quell the growing suspicion and rebuild trust in this vital regional institution. And that's just an excerpt, as I mentioned, coming from a piece entitled CDB's Two-Tier Corporate Governance Structure and the Case of Dr. Jean Leo. That was penned by Professor Thomas Cauldron, retired professor and academic journal editor from St. Lucia. So just sharing some thoughts on the ongoing matter involving the sixth president, I believe it is, of the Caribbean Development Bank. Of course, a vital institution across the Caribbean, very important in terms of the economic development, social and economic development of our states here in the Caribbean. They do quite a lot of work, of course, in terms of pure banking work, in terms of providing loans, most of them being highly concessionary loans through governments and other agencies. But of course, they've also been engaged in providing independent third-party information on the states of the economy, on doing analyses of various sectors of development. So that just gives a sense of some of the work and the criticality of the Caribbean Development Bank. But let's try to take in a call at this time. Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchroom. What's on your plate today?
Thank you. It's me again. I just want to appreciate that the full text reading that you read there.
Yes.
And it sort of makes me feel vindicated. My severe, if to put it that way, I'm concerned.
Right.
Yeah, I feel vindicated, and I'm happy that your research capability to come out with that and enlighten us. And in fact, the professor expressed the gravity of the situation in no unclear terms.
Oh yes, it certainly is a very grave situation, no doubt about it.
You need to take these other things seriously because the fallout could be great. And also congratulations. I heard the lady say that a dad to be
Well, yes, that's happening as well. Yes.
Oh my man, that's great.
Thank you.
You get a great news for 2024, man. I love that.
Thank you very much.
I mean,
Thank
it's
you.
a formidable challenge in these days, in these times, to be a husband and a father.
It looks so.
Yeah,
Yes.
and do it good and do it right. So
That's
I
right.
mean, it shows the mettle of the man, and I respect. All right.
Thank you very much, caller.
Yeah, and also thanks for the thing that you read there.
Definitely,
Okay?
not a
Thank you, my
problem.
brother.
All right, have a good one.
Go brave.
All right, thank you very much. And of course, as we have been discussing with respect to the Caribbean Development Bank and the importance of financial aid, you will find that, of course, the CDB is not just the members from the Caribbean countries, but in fact a number of other entities, other countries, donor countries are members of the bank. And of course, when these matters come up, I mean, obviously, the state of play at the bank, they may very well have certain concerns in terms of the strength of the bank, the stability of the bank to be able to deliver objectively its mandate. And so certainly these are very, very important issues that we have to look at. And of course, ironically, we're looking at it within the eyes of the current era, but also being mindful of the legacy that has been established by none other than Sir William Arthur Lewis, who was in fact the first president of the Caribbean Development Bank, very instrumental in its establishment. And so at a time like this, when we're going to be discussing about aid and the importance of loan financing as well as grant financing, it is certainly very important that we look at what is going on here. And hopefully there can be some level of clarity sooner rather than later on this ongoing saga. Of course, a lot of it is somewhat coming through unofficial channels, I should say. And if you've read some of the releases, it's quoting sources, but it's not actually saying definitively where it is coming from. And so we still have to be trying to wade through these waters to get a better sense as to what is going on. But it certainly does somewhat suggest a bit of a flippant nature as to how this is unraveling. And that, I think, is not in good standing for the image of the bank, certainly at a time like this. So let's hope that it can be resolved in the best interest of the state and the best interest of the Caribbean, because of course we do know that we have serious challenges in terms of Caribbean development at this time. Yesterday, you would have seen the last flight of Leeward Island Air Transport, LIAT, established quite a while back and re-established quite recently again, and it doesn't look like it's going to be able to continue, certainly not in the form that it has been in the past, and an end of a significant era spanning decades, and an important situation of the matter of air connectivity across our islands still remains a critical one. The CDB has done a number of reports looking at the issue of air connectivity. They've pinned down into a lot of the critical issues of high taxes on fares being one of the major issues. Governments not really being so keen to address them as quickly as what we would like to see. But any players, whether private sector or government-supported entities, airlines coming into this mix, they're going to have a hard time with the level of taxation for air travel. So let's hope that can be addressed, and the many other issues that we are facing in terms of the need for development here in the Caribbean. So that's all the time we have today here at the Lunchroom. Tomorrow, we're going to be looking a bit into the politics of St. Lucia. My guest is going to be the St. Lucia Labour Party, Senator Lisa Jawa here. And she's going to be speaking about the midterm review of the ruling St. Lucia Labour Party administration. January the 26th is going to be 2.5 years since the July 26, 2021 general election. So certainly a good opportunity to review and to see how things have panned out for the half term of this current administration. So we'll be discussing that tomorrow on the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. Do have yourself a very safe and blessed day. I'm your host, Alex George Jr., saying goodbye.